facing the police every single day.
Participation trophies, blue, red, pink, rainbow.
In our new meaningless section, right over here.
Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, is he aware that the Charlotte County Sheriff has an illegal list of gun owners?
Well, we've received that question a few times, and we have talked to a few sources at the sheriff's office, and as a matter of fact, I checked with the Department of Agriculture, and I did read and access some online material with regard to that, and my conclusion is that's not an accurate statement. I have no evidence that says that they do, and the Department of Agriculture withholds that list. There is no public list. And if you go to the Department of Agriculture, they'll tell you that. But more importantly, the gun advocates from like U.S. Concealed Carry Association, which is uscca.com, and the NRA, they do a lot of this background information. And when you go to their sites and you pull information on obtaining a CCW license in the state of Florida, it'll give you most of the commonly asked questions, about 40, 50, 60, depending which page you go to. And one of them asks, do local sheriff's offices or law enforcement officials maintain a list? And the answer is no. So from multiple sources, I have a no, and I did speak with some contacts here locally, no. Now, that is not to say that, and I asked this question as well. If a person,
it was related to pawn shops.
Yes, there's a list maintained from weapons that are turned into pawn shops, but pawn shops, even though some of them can deal in weapons, they're under a whole different set of rules than a standard FFL, a federal firearms license holder, like Higher Power Outfitters is. They're under a whole different set. But if you're under investigation by the sheriff's office, like if you committed a violent crime or something and you're under investigation, law enforcement does have the right to call the Department of Agriculture and find out if you have a concealed permit weapon, because if they plan on arresting you, you could pose a real risk.
Sure.
Not that this is common, because the truth is, I have the numbers, it's not common. But they can call Department of Agriculture on a one-on-one basis, and they can get a response to that question specifically.
And as I understand it, he's already had hired a lawyer here, so we can't speak on pending litigation. So we'll have to just.
The worst thing that could happen to a show like this is that it would.
Gettle Chevy, and big deals. We have another call here. Let's see what this is. Hi, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, I was calling about that gun list.
Yes, sir.
The gun list is real. They do have the list. I ran my own name, and they have information on me from 2013. And they also have my CCW, that's in record and has been sent to every police department in Florida. It's an ongoing record, and it's on everybody. Anybody's got a concealed weapons permit.
Well, I guess they know who to call when they need backup. Then
I guess so. Again, I haven't been able to find any of that information out there, and I've asked the questions. I've gone to the right people now. Again, I'm not trying to be an investigator.
That's not what we're here for. We're here just doing a little update on this stuff, and everybody's getting all pissy like it's his fault. Lighten up.
Trust me, I have nothing to do. It's up to me. There'd be no list at all. I think, one of the greatest reasons are...
we know why they make lists.
Absolutely.
You don't have to explain it to us.
Right. And I think our founding fathers had it right when they gave us the Second Amendment so that we could protect ourselves. They never even thought of keeping a paper list, right? Can you imagine keeping a paper list of every single American? Because I don't think at that time there was any that didn't, have a firearm for a multitude of reasons. So I'm not sure where that goes, but it's a good thing.
I think I agree with the work squad.
Yeah, I totally agree with those contracts. I think they're great.
All right, thanks, Al. He's cranky, old man. Hi, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Ken. This is Lindsay.
Lindsay Harrington, how you doing, sir?
Lindsay, how are you?
Doing fine. No, I've just caught part of this conversation. Someone told me the other day that my name came up on the radio in regard to a bill that we passed back in 2002, 3, 4. I forget the date on it. But what was going on was the pawn shops were keeping notes on who held guns and in Broward County. And the Socialist Republic of Broward was trying to, find out who had weapons, and when an officer would respond to a problem in a neighborhood, as he went to that address, they were informing him that the house 2 doors up had a rifle or just bought a pistol, or the occupant of the home was, owned a weapon of whatever. And that was the kind of information they were compiling, and it's illegal.
Yes, it is. I would agree with that.
We pressed the issue, and, of course, we won, but it looks like that Charlotte and Sarasota are doing that right now. They're compiling some kind of a list on people. I have no problem with them, as I heard earlier, making a call to see if a perp was carrying had a weapons permit or whatever. But I don't even have a weapons permit because I don't want my name on a daggone list. I have none. But, I have one when I need it. Let's put it that way.
Very well.
Yeah, I got you, Lindsay, and I agree. I mean, obviously that's illegal, and it's disturbing. Again, I don't have any inside information on this, but let's just speculate that exactly what you're saying is true. That
have you seen this?
They might be engaging in this
Lindsay?
list.
Pardon me?
Have you seen this? Have you seen evidence of it? Because all I've heard is
no,
hearsay.
I've had it passed to me, and I have been those people in Tallahassee who have the grandest of influence, much better than I'll ever have, and the issue has been passed to a Second Amendment lawyer here in Florida by the name of Friday. And Attorney Friday is on top of this issue.
Joe Friday is on the case.
Yeah.
Dragnet.
Just the facts, man.
Just the facts.
714. 714. But anyway, he's on top of it. And supposedly there's been some infractions here from what I'm being told. And so they're looking into it right now. And the person I've talked with in Tallahassee, who's a big NRA supporter and watches everything in Tallahassee, she says it's best to go the route of getting the Attorney General on top of this, and that's where they're headed. The Attorney General of Florida is going to look into this and see if there's, this is going on. And as I had told this gentleman who called me, having learned that I was involved with this bill back, a decade or more ago, that the best route is to go to the AG. Of course, the AG is not going to go jump. They're going to do their research and make sure that there is or is not a problem, and then at that time they will take the course that's appropriate. And that's acting, using
yeah, that's true. And now, how would the state attorney general go about that? Would they have one of their local?
They're going to ask questions, and they have investigators, just like our state's attorney's office has investigators. They're going to investigate. They'll have some attorney say a complaint was filed that you're having records, and they're going to ask them for the truth. And woe be unto them if they fib to them. But they'll make their investigation, and if they cough up the info and they find out the law has been broken, they're going to issue an edict. Hey, cease and desist. That kind of thing. That's the proper way it should be handled. It's and
no, I agree. I agree.
Also understand that there's been some warning given to an individual that he was violating, I think, the rights or the ability of the sheriff's department to do such and such, and he's a little scared for himself. And Mr. Friday's also looking into protecting him as well. So anyway, that's the course of action as I've last heard it.
Well, Lindsay, at the end of the day, I mean, isn't the sheriff responsible at the end of the day for the actions of his staff? I mean, if they're compiling a list, whether he has direct or indirect knowledge, isn't he responsible for that at the end of the day?
That's just like if your kid goes out and gets in trouble, you're responsible. It's just like in any business. Buck stops at the top.
Yep. Because you've heard we've had some interest here on the radio with that. Both last week and this week, we had a couple callers calling in, And look, I would encourage them. I'm not a county official. You know, I work at I'm at Higher Power Outfitters. You know, I would say
we're just here doing Second Amendment updates.
We're just talking stuff.
Hey,
you know?
talking
I would
guns.
say, you know, let's go to the sheriff, make those concerns known, request that information, see if there's a public information request you could file on. I mean, there are avenues that a citizen can take, right?
Yes, there is.
Right.
And maybe another citizen needs to do it. You know,
I had a matter of fact, I'm headed over to entertain some family members in town for a week, and this morning early on, I had an email from a former county commissioner who was inquiring of me, you know, what has progressed on this. He's worried about it too. You know, is this being done? It's a violation of our rights. You know, and it doesn't seem that it stops in Charlotte. It goes beyond Charlotte to Sarasota and others. You know, I don't have a problem with them having the right information that they need to do what they need to do. But when it comes to Second Amendment, the only difference between us and Nicaragua, the only difference between us and Venezuela, the only difference between us and China, North Korea, or any other totalitarian regime like Iran is the right that we carry and are able to pack. And that's why the Democrat Socialist Party of the United States, along with the Communist Party of the United States, are out to remove guns from people's hands. And that is, eventually at some point, the button gets pushed and we're theirs.
Amen.
I'm sorry. People may think I'm a nut job, but
we've seen it happen. We've seen when you've seen it happen time and again over the last 100 years, and you see the signs leading up to it are happening here. You got to kind of take it to heart, maybe.
I mean, stating the facts. I mean, I don't understand how stating the facts can equivocate it to nut job. I mean, come on, Lindsay. You're talking about what's really going on out there, and of course they're trying to take the guns, and that's precisely why, and everybody knows it. I mean, if you can't protect your family, you know, from a home invasion, how are you going to protect yourself and your family from the government?
Exactly.
God forbid. I mean, God forbid it ever came down to that. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's our final conclusion, right?
Yep. And I tell you what, an officer having some problems by himself when a citizen, armed or unarmed, steps up to assist him to save his life and or to help protect the officer or to assist the officer, you know, you bet you that officer is smiling with a big smile on his face after the arrest is taken care of. Same thing here. If you need to protect yourself, you dang gone better do it. And I've got a friend of mine that's from California, has been raised in the Brainwashing Society of California. She learned that a person in a business was packing, and she was scared to death. It's because she was brainwashed to believe that the Second Amendment is an offense against her, when it's a right to protect yourself. And this person was a woman, is a woman, and she was packing for the sole reason of protecting herself when she was out doing business. You know, people have been brainwashed.
They are.
You know what? Dick's Sporting Goods, I never went into them anyway because I thought it was a lousy business name, and I'm glad to see they're having troubles right now. And I hope at some point that board of directors and the stockholders wrestle the control away from that crazy guy.
Yeah, you would think.
And put it back into somebody's hands, and that they go back to doing what other sporting goods stores do, and they're responsible business people operating within the law, especially when it comes to buying and selling guns.
Indeed, indeed. Well, thanks, Lindsay. I'm late for a break, Lindsay, but thank you very much for calling in and informing us on that.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't changed a bit, has he? He still perfectly frames everything.
Yeah.
And gets right
you
to
always
the
go
point.
to Lindsay when you want the straight dope.
I'm telling you.
You want the straight dope.
This is a global conflict.
There's a lot of people working very hard to make this happen.
I like being on your show.
We'll be right back with Charlotte County Speaks on News Radio 15.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH. I am using any video here with under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.